Didn't know if I was going to make the stream today. It's not always easy getting to these because of life, running a business and all those things. But so it's a relief to be here. Yeah, before we start, actually, I'm just really pleased with several of my clients that are doing really well, which has inspired some of the material that I've been doing today, yesterday, and the day before. My client Phil, I've been working with him now for, I think it's about over a year. He did my 1 year program, invested in it, and he's really successful now. He's built a successful business, and he was on a podcast show today. So, really proud of him, really pleased with what he's achieved, and from where he's come from and the struggles he's had to have gotten to where he is now. He's teaching people, he's helping. He's a really good person living a positive life. So that's really amazing. And today we're on the topic of how to change your life when you've got anxiety. And if you didn't know my story, my story is that. My story is a person who suffered with, horrendous anxiety growing up for many years, but I refused to let it beat me. And, after listening to a Les Brown motivational message in my early 20s, it inspired me to go out and change my life, and that's what I did. And, part of me changing my life was not just achieving my personal goals and dreams at the time, which I was really fortunate to achieve, but it was to do what I'm doing now. It was to be a public speaker, a teacher, a mentor, and to help people. And I've been doing that now for 12 years, and I really enjoy it. It's it's challenging. It has its challenges, like everything does, but it's something that I'm really passionate about doing. So if you're on this stream today and you've got anxiety, you can change your life. And if I can get my breath and get this coffee down me, I'm going to break down the steps in how you do it. And I actually made a short video today. I did some writing today, basically, so that I don't forget. I've got the blueprint on how I did it, how I teach my clients, and how anyone can do it, who's committed and who's got the courage and willing to really work at it. I think I mentioned my client Phil. Another one of my client James is doing really well. He travels to abroad. He does these meet-up groups. They're groups with like-minded people that are into improving their life, and he works with me. We do the mentorship sessions. He's doing it really well. And a client that I worked with yesterday, who's doing a shorter-term program, it was our last session. He had a good breakthrough yesterday, and he was able to open up about a lot of his struggles. He shared his story from the past, which is amazing. Right, so I break it up into 3 areas. You've got to go on Instagram to find the podcast. If you write in, I believe if you write in Phil Morrison, you will find his Instagram page, my client Phil, and you'll find the podcast somewhere there. Have a look for it. Right, okay, so let me just have a few minutes to get some questions going as well on the stream. Yeah, basically today, I did a YouTube video that I haven't uploaded. I did it earlier on. It's about 26 minutes. It was quite exhausting, a good video on this. I did a lot of writing today, breaking down the process how I teach my clients who have got anxiety and that have, been through bullying, growing up in trauma, how anyone can change their life, how I did it, how my clients have done it, doing it, and how anyone can. And it's quite a common pattern that people go through in order to get past, their anxiety, their trauma, their shame, their pain, with regards to changing their life. And I'm quite fascinated about that pattern. I'm hoping that I get more opportunities myself to go on podcast shows so I can share that pattern, that process, and anyone who struggles with anxiety, which always comes from it. Anxiety always originates back to someone bullying you or abusing you in your childhood, whether they did it verbally, physically, or a combination of both. I've realised that now, from mentoring people for 12 years in my job as a teacher and through my life. Give me a few minutes to get my breath. It's been a long day today. I didn't realise you don't realise how tired you are sometimes until you stop and sit down. Try and get some questions in. Just want to get comfortable. And I went to the gym today and I always put clips up to inspire people for daily discipline. Okay, so the first thing you've got to do, it's probably the hardest thing for people. You've got to speak about it. This is the bit that most people, I'd say everybody, until they get used to it and they overcome the fear, they struggle with. If you're dealing with, a trauma in the past and all these anxieties and shame and pain, obviously everybody wants to get it out and speak about them, but it takes a lot of courage to do that. But I honestly feel from experience, from having done it myself many times, and it changed my life, it saved my life. It helped, it was only yesterday that I was helping a client, helping him through that so he could open up on a Zoom call. But when you do that, and it's not something that you just do, it's not a one-off thing, this is going to be something that you've got to do for quite a while. It's basically therapy. And you can do that with a paid therapist. You can do it with a mentor. There's therapy in my mentorship. My mentorship is a bit different to classic therapy. Classic therapy, which I believe in, is where obviously you sit down with someone and you kind of get things out depending on the therapy. There's different types, obviously CBT, but my one is that, and there's other things as well. There's discipline, there's a practical approach. It's kind of similar, but it's got my own touch to it. There's many different areas. I've kind of combined everything into my therapy. Fitness, health, relationships, career, finances, communication, public speaking. So most therapists don't teach all those things, and that's what differentiates to mentorship with what I teach, which is my own bespoke teaching and mentorship, which works for people that it works for, that committed and they're right for it. So whatever therapy you get, I think they're all great. You've got to obviously find one that works for you, because if you don't get these things out, they don't go away on their own, unfortunately. The human body doesn't work like that, as you already know. Think about it. Let me boil it down to a simple thing, right? I'm going to give you an example, really simple. So I'm in a hotel, I'm in a restaurant, or I'm in a coffee shop, and I'm sitting down and I want to order a coffee, but sometimes no one comes over, they don't see you, they're busy, or they don't know that you want a coffee. So if you just sit there and you've got all that emotion, where you want a coffee, if you don't ask for the coffee, then the likelihood is you might not get the coffee. So you've got to go over and communicate and say, excuse me, hi, I would like to order a coffee, please. And then they'll be like, okay, sure, what can we get you? And then they'll bring you the coffee. I know that's a simple example, but in the same way with therapy and mentorship and getting past your anxieties and your shame and rebuilding your confidence, if you don't get these things out, then you're not going to get the result you want. You can't do it. And I've observed it growing up. I'm 40 years young now, and it's something that I observed even before I started mentoring and teaching people. When I got therapy from mentors, I noticed that people that don't talk about their problems, their anxieties, their issue, their pains, their life don't go well, because they don't address the problem. They're in pain and they're not getting it out. And of course, if you get these things out, you're not going to be in pain forever. Does that make sense? So the relief that you get, the confidence that you get, the character that you build, you grow stronger. You get past the major fear that people have got. And that's the fear of what will people think, what will they say. But when you get into a good place, you don't really care what they say, because you feel good and you're happy and you're confident in yourself. So getting things out is really important. And as I said, it's not just one session that I've seen the results that clients have got. This has been thousands of hours of mentorship. And as I said, I know it from also having therapy myself, having mentors. I've been through lots of different therapies and mentors, and it really does help, massively helps. I mean, that's probably an understatement and undervaluing how powerful it is. It can actually save someone's life. So you really need to find someone that you can trust, that you can get it out with, whether that is a paid mentor or that is a group or a friend or someone that's also, open-minded and has got through things themselves. Because if you bottle these things up, then you never get past it. See, a lot of people, I get it, people that want to change their life and they've got goals and dreams and aspirations, a lot of people don't realize that in order to achieve their goals and their dreams, at some point you're going to have to confront the pain and the trauma and the anxieties and the shame that you're living with right now, that have obviously come from your childhood. And that's not a negative thing. So don't hear this in a negative way, but I'm just making it very clear, my experience from someone who had massive amounts of pain and shame and anxiety and trauma, who was once stuck in their life. And when I wanted to change my life desperately, I had to realize that, because when you go towards your goals and your dreams, these things are going to start to cause you pain. They're going to remind you of what's bothering you and what you need to face and work through. So that's step number one, is talking about it for however long you do that. Now, of course, it's not like, we're going to move on to step two in a second, step three. Now, step two is basically where you've got to set the goals that you want to achieve. Obviously, no one knows what those goals are because they're your goals. So, for example, with my client Phil, one of his major goals was to become confident. He wanted to become confident with people, with speaking. And that also went on to, he wanted to build his own business. He was at university when I first was working with him, when he first signed up for my paid mentorship program. And he was majoring and getting a degree as a doctor, but he didn't want to do that as a career. So he wanted to finish university. Whilst he was at uni, he wanted to take my mentorship to get more confident, get over his anxieties, both social and life. And then he wanted to use that confidence to start his own business and help other people and do public talks. And now he's successfully doing all those things. He's arrived at that place now. So the process is, you've got to get therapy, you've got to talk about these problems until you can get to a better place. And then you've got to set goals of what you want to achieve in your life, because obviously everybody wants to change their life, but that could look slightly different for each and every one. Like I said, my other client that I'm working with, I finished working with yesterday, now his goals are not exactly the same goals as Phil. He wants to pursue goals in his life. So you need to know what your goals are, you need to set them, and you need to start working towards them. Now the third one is, you kind of connects with part one, is you need a mentor. I've not met anyone in my life, and I've not mentored anyone, and all the mentors that have mentored me, I've never met someone who hasn't invested at some point in a coach, a mentor, a therapist, or a teacher to help them to achieve their goals and dreams. I've not met anyone. So you need to apply all those three things if you want to change your life past your anxiety, and basically tell your story. That was always my goal and dream, to do what I'm doing now. I couldn't have imagined I'd be doing what I'm doing now, because when I was trapped in fear like 20 years ago, I couldn't even have imagined. I couldn't trust anyone. I didn't have the confidence to tell my best friends at the time, even my family. I couldn't talk about this because I was so ashamed, I was so frightened, and I was in so much pain. But I said to myself, one day I want to get on stage and overcome this and share my story with the whole world, not just with my friend or my mum or family member. And that's what I've been doing for a long time now, and it's my passion and I love it. But your passion could be something completely different. But the principle is, you're still going to want to overcome your anxiety, because until you don't overcome that or improve it, you're not going to, it's going to hold you back in every area of your life.
Okay, der ist auch schlimmes Mann.
So, take some time, not just to think about this, but to feel about this, because thinking can be a negative. If you start doing that obsessive thinking, you're just gonna facilitate the anxiety. So there is correct thinking where it's more conscious. Hopefully, I'm trying my best I can. We're obviously, for a live stream, trying to get you in a space I'm at now where I'm calm, I'm present, and I can speak clearly, I can think clearly, and I'm out of that space of anxiety where you're worrying, you're catastrophizing, you're in a bad mood, all that. So you've got to come out of that space and really think about how much does it mean to you to change your life, because a lot of people don't do it because they're afraid to do it. They're afraid of the pain, the shame, the blame, the anger and the hurt, and these are things that you've got to work through. We can't avoid these things if you want to change. We have to confront our anger, our hurt, our pain, our shame, the blame that we put on ourselves, which isn't our fault, on others. These are things that you've got to work through, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. All good people have gone through this process, that have changed their life and have gone on to help other people. I couldn't be helping you right now if I didn't work through this in my own life and help my clients. So it takes a really strong person to do this. It really does. It's not about how big your muscles are, but it's about how big your spirit is, your heart, your courage, you know. So it's not about how tall you are or what your gender is. This is a human spirit. It takes a lot of courage to do this and follow it through, and it's not a quick fix. It's something that is an ongoing process, but it's worth it. You know, it's worth it for those of you that really want to do it and value it. And anyone who can do it, anyone can do it who wants to do it and is willing to put that work in. But it's not a quick fix. It's not going to happen overnight. It's something that you really got to persevere with. So, you know, most of the healing, if not all of it, is the communication, is sharing your story. Go online now, or don't go online right now. You're on my live stream if you want, obviously, and ask yourself the question: why do you watch the people that you watch? And the answer is because, you know, you want to hear their story, because they inspire you, and you want to connect on how did they succeed. You know, how did they find the courage to face their fears to get to where they got to? You're trying to figure out how you can do it. And if you stop for a second and be present, they did it with the method that I'm teaching and explaining to you today, that I teach on all my mentorship programs, and what I done to change my life. Number one, they therapeutically spoke about it until it was no longer shameful and painful, and they healed it, and they could be proud of their story, number one. And number two, they set goals and they work towards those goals and they achieve those goals. And in the process of setting goals and working towards those, your confidence and your self-esteem builds up and increases. So all my clients want to build confidence. That is one of the major reasons why they take my mentorship. I was no different. You can't achieve these things without a certain level of confidence. You need confidence to change your life, to get past your anxieties and your traumas and your pains and the shame and all that. You need a lot of confidence to do that. So confidence is something that you build through repetition, through therapy, through practice, through working towards things, and of course the way you treat people, being kind to others, and, you know, getting mentorship, having someone educate you, give you wisdom, teach you, build you up. You know, that's how Les Brown inspired me to change my life. When I was in my 20s, when I was struggling with anxiety and shame and the pain from the past, because I got bullied as well growing up, like all of you did. I was in my flat, you know, going out of my mind with stress, and I found Les Brown's video, and when he shared his story with the fact that he got bullied at school, and he went through the same thing that I did and all of you did, even though he lived in America, it was the same. Then he explained how he became successful, not just at overcoming his anxiety, his social anxiety, but as a speaker and a teacher, financially, and he inspired me. So if he didn't share his story, it wouldn't have helped me to change my story, change my life, and then to share my story with people from all around the world to help them to change their life and their story. So you've got to change your story by first admitting your story and getting it out. The story that you're ashamed of, the story that you don't want to talk about, the story that hurts. It hurts at first, but it heals later on. And it's a very similar emotional, psychological process to going in a boxing ring for the first or second time. People are scared, of course, of getting hit. They're scared of getting hit because they're afraid of the pain. They're also scared of losing because that is painful, or embarrassing themselves. So it's exactly the same fear. People are afraid to talk about their anxieties or their trauma because they're afraid of the pain that might bring on. And the same reason for going in a boxing ring. But the more you go into a boxing ring and spar, the tougher you get, the stronger you get, and the less you fear it and the more you enjoy it. It's exactly the same way the more you do therapy or the more you do mentorship. I see it every week with my clients. At the start, naturally, of course, they're nervous, they're anxious, it's not easy to trust people, and they're apprehensive. But as the sessions go on, they open up more, they communicate more, they're more vulnerable. The more vulnerable you are, the stronger you get. So you've got to be vulnerable. If you're not vulnerable, you're not going to change your life. It's impossible. You can't change your life and not be vulnerable. Vulnerability. Often, if you go on social media, as people lie a lot, everyone is showing, the best bits of their life, or they say things that they want people to believe, which are often not true. But how many people are actually honest? There's a few. There's not many, and they admit their insecurities or how they feel, and then they change them. So it's not like you're permanently going to have these anxieties and insecurities if you work at them. So if you're new to this live stream, I'm a mentor and a teacher. My name is Jonathan. Today we're talking about how you can change your life if you've got anxiety because you got bullied growing up. And pretty much all anxiety disorders, if you trace them back, they always originate back to childhood trauma, to bullying from somebody. Some of it can be slightly hereditary, but most of it, the majority of the bulk of the pain, is from being bullied when you were younger and being affected by that bullying, whether that happened on several occasions, one particular occasion, or a combination of both. So if you don't start to face those anxieties, then the anxieties just get worse and the pain gets worse. So like I said earlier, take some time. This is going to be something that you're going to, take the first step today. Do some writing today. Write these steps down. Just work towards it each and every day. That's why I teach something called daily discipline to all my clients, and I practice it where, you work on the main areas of life, the positive habits like, waking up on time, making the bed, clean your apartment, eating healthy as consistently as you can, going to the gym regularly, spending time with positive people, working on your career. They're all the different vital areas that make up a positive life. Think about it. Your career, your relationships, your health, your diet, your creativity. I've never worked with a client before, who hasn't had something creative that they really enjoy, whether it was playing the guitar, whether it was writing, whether it was YouTubing, whether it was martial arts, whether it was boxing, whether it was running a business, property selling, traveling. So whatever your creative passion is, you want to work on doing that, because that's another part of building your confidence and healing. Of course, we've all got things that we enjoy doing, but people often don't do those things consistently because they're struggling with the pain and the hurt and the anxiety and the shame of their past. And every time people go to pursue what they enjoy, it triggers the past. And this is all happening for the right reasons, for good, until you realize that. Because when you go to do your passion, it triggers your fears and your demons and also your strengths. So obviously the courage and the strength is to push through those demons and do your creative art, or to simultaneously get the therapy, or you can do all these things simultaneously. You haven't got to be rigid and just do them in one order. So you can set goals, you can take action on those goals, you can get a mentor, and you can work on opening up over time about the things that are bothering you. Because as I said, that's where the saying comes from. A problem shared is a problem solved. You don't solve problems by bottling them up. The longer you bottle a problem up, the worse it gets. The more it grows, the more it blackmails you, the more it bullies you, and it becomes an internal bully. So confessing it out frees you. And as I said, I see it in every single mentoring session. I love it. My clients are free because they get out the problems that they're dealing with, and they also get out their talents, all of it, things that they're grateful for. Often people can't find gratitude because they don't clear out their anxieties and their demons and their pains and their shame and their blame and their anger. If you clear those things out and you get them out through a conversation or therapy or mentorship or through gratitude, you will naturally come to a place of gratitude, because you'll be more present, you'll be more aligned, and you'll be calmer, and there's not that resentment. But whilst you're bottling these things up, you're basically in a prison. Like a friend of mine said before, people can be walking around, they're not in an actual prison, but they are in prison. They're in an open prison because they're trapped in the restrictions of their pain, their shame, their blame, their past trauma, their resentment, past hurts, past failures, past disappointments, and so forth. So getting past those things is discipline, it's work. And that's why people are successful and they're loved all around the world, and they're also hated all around the world, because people hate on people that are more successful than them and that are braver than them and less ashamed than them and are kinder. People are in that place. It's unfortunate, but that's the reality of human nature. But grateful people appreciate those, and they change people's lives. So, same with Tyson Fury. He shared his story and he changed many people's lives, including mine. So it's the power of vulnerability, it's the power of sharing your story, it's the power of opening up, it's the power of not protecting yourself, it's the power of not having your ego in the way, which is controlling you and dominating you, and it's the power of not living your whole life based on the opinions of other people, because you want people to like you, you want them to accept you at the cost of not liking and accepting yourself. So if you want to like and accept yourself, then you have to face good evening, Frank. You've got to confront your anxieties in the step that I've explained. You can mix the orders up, but generally for anyone that's got anxiety, I'd say that's the whole planet, but those of you on the stream, you've got anxiety because of the bullying that you underwent growing up and the trauma that you're carrying. If you want to change your life, you have to talk about it. You have to speak about it so that you can free yourself from the shame and the pain and the blame, and get into a good place. And then you need to set goals of what you want to achieve in your life, and you need to achieve those goals. And I would say it doesn't end there, but that is a beautiful thing. Like, what my client Phil has done now, he's been working with me on he's done the 1 year program, and he's doing a second 1 year. I think we're about 13 months in. He's transformed his life. 13 months of commitment. Can you imagine? 13 months, and he's achieved what a lot of people don't in their whole lifetime. He's built a successful business, he's become confident, he's doing public talks, he's making money doing what he loves, and he's mentoring other people, he's changing their life, and he's featured on a podcast show today. Well, proud of him, because he put the commitment in, he put the work in, he did all the things that I'm saying. So you've got to talk about it for as long as you need to talk about it, get to a good place, and you've got to take action on your goals that you want to achieve. When you achieve all these things, this is what happened to me, and I've observed it in all positive, good people. Once you get past your anxieties from the past and you get to a better place, you then want to give back. And that's probably that's the best feeling of all. Then you give back, to your community, your society, and you help other people through sharing your story. We don't realize sometimes how powerful sharing our story is when we tell the truth. That is, of course, if you tell lies, and it's not really going to do much. Like I said about earlier, everybody today, not everybody, but most people will post up stuff on social media. They'll tell a lot of lies because they want people to think good things about them and all these things. But, when you're real and you're honest, that's when the transformation takes place for yourself and for so many other people. You're welcome, man. I'm well happy to hear that, Frank. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. That's what we're talking about today. The power of vulnerability, the power of honesty, the power of getting these things out. It helps other people. It helps you. I watched this actor. He's a really lovely guy. I can't remember his name, Frank. You might know him. Very successful Hollywood actor. Went for a really hard time, made millions, but was going to kill himself, was suicidal, right? It's a very heart-wrenching story. Thank God he didn't do it, because he was struggling with alcohol and his past trauma, even though he was successful, made millions, and he got the help Now he's found God, and he's in a better place. And I saw his story, and I was so inspired. You see, he's done it. He's shared his story. Yeah, I've said that before. There's different types of strength. I mean, going in the boxing ring takes a lot of courage. It's a very frightening thing to do for anyone until you've done it. Some of you, it might not be your calling to do that, but those of you that have done it, but speaking about your insecurities and your vulnerabilities and your past, even when you've overcome it, that takes more strength, or I would say a different type of strength. There's physical strength, getting in the ring and fighting, but there's spiritual strength, which is to talk about things that are not easy to talk about. But when you talk about those things, you grow stronger spiritually. You grow stronger mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Like I said, what I'm saying is factual. Just look at anybody that you're inspired by. I guarantee you they're doing what I've said. They have done what I said. You wouldn't watch them otherwise. And I said on the YouTube video I done today, that's why he deserves it. That's why so many people are inspired by Mike Tyson, not just because of Tyson's former life as a heavyweight champion and a formidable, the way he fought, but because of his honesty, because how vulnerable he is about his deepest issues as a child. Most people won't do that. They ain't got the courage to do it. They want to do it, believe me. And they could do it, but they choose not to do it. So they connect with Tyson. Tyson is their way of finding something that makes them feel better about their painful past or life. He's amazing at that, and that's why he's grown and grown. His businesses have grown, his brand's grown, opportunities have grown, he's grown, he's more vulnerable, he's more loving. It's because what I said, because of the therapy, because of opening up. And Tyson's had a lot of therapy and help. So if Mike Tyson can get therapy and help, what makes you think that you're any less of a person? You're not. It takes strength. You're not a weak person. You're a winner for getting help. When I got help, I was the same when I needed it. So getting these things out and speaking, and you actually, you get stronger when you do it. And when I'm doing this now to illustrate a point, to mentor you, also to have gratitude for my clients that are doing well, people that have helped me, all those things I bring together, and I feel stronger. You'd notice it if you watch my streams. That should give you hope. I'm no different to you, or no better than you, or no worse than you. I've just got the courage to do it. I get stronger the more and more I share my story, the more I do these talks and live streams, the more I help people, the more I practice it. This is a practice that anyone can do. It's therapy, it's common sense, it takes a lot of courage. But those that have got the courage to do it will do it and value it. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. It's amazing that something so difficult, something so painful, so shameful, so hurtful, so frightening, so unthinkable, so unfathomable could become comfortable. It's a beautiful feeling. It makes life worth living. It makes the pain that you've gone through worth going through. It enables you to move on and forgive more and live an amazing life when you can get to a place of gratitude. And you can get to that place right now. It's not like it always has to be so far away in sight, but it takes courage. That's all it takes and more. It's courage to do this. So this is how you change your life more than anything. You've got to talk about it. Appreciate it, man. That means a lot. So, that's why I love Les Brown, and I love people in general. It's not always easy to love everybody. When some people, people can be so unkind, but that's a process. But generally, I love it. I love people that are good-natured and kind. They help everybody, and it takes so much courage. David Goggins is the same. He's inspired millions of people around the world, including me, because he had the confidence and the courage and the humility and the guts to be vulnerable and not to share all just the good things about himself, but to share his insecurities, his past trauma, his shame, all that. Helps so many other people. But I believe, and I've seen it, and I've done it myself, and I'm working on it still, and helping my clients, and I learn from mentors and other people, all walks of life, is something that is training. you build up to it. It's not just like, oh, okay, I'm afraid, I've got all this shame and anxiety, and I'm just going to get it all out and that's it. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It's like acting. You work at it. A good actor, he doesn't just do one film, generally, or just practice for 2 hours. This is a lifelong commitment. This is day in, day out. This is blood, sweat and tears. This is years and years and years of facing many, many fears and shedding many, many tears. So how do I speak like this? Because I face the pain continuously, because I make myself be vulnerable to help other people, and I love to speak, I love to teach, I love to inspire, I love to educate, I love to motivate, I love to connect, I love to reason, I love to appreciate, and I like to continue challenging myself, because I'm still got lots of insecurities like we all do. Lots of goals and dreams. I want to reach more people, I want to help more people. So it's practice, it's putting in that work, so you can get a better outcome and a better result. Anyone can do it, but most people, I want to change this narrative, but most people won't do it because they let fear get in the way, pride get in the way, sometimes selfishness get in the way, and unkindness towards themselves and others, too much fear of rejection, fear of success, fear of responsibility, a fear of change, a fear of self-sabotage, a fear of uncertainty, a fear of the unknown, and a fear of growing. So speaking, it's the courage to speak. I know what happens. I can hear the collective negative narrative of society. What will people think about me? Don't focus on that. Focus on positive people. Focus on people that have already done what you want to do, which is talked about their shame and their pain and their trauma, and they've transformed their life in so many people, and they continue to grow and do it. So there's no, like my friend said once, I was talking with her about my appreciation for running, because she was like a top level runner and I was getting into running, and she said a great thing. She said, Jonathan, there's no finish line. It's true, there's no finish line to love, there's no finish line to changing people's lives, there's no finish line to improving yourself as a person. There's no finish line. So whilst there's no finish line, we've got to keep going. So it's not like you just do a few therapy sessions or mentorship with me or whoever you work with, you get past your anxiety, you get confident, and then that's it. Of course it's not it. You've got to keep on living. There's more challenges. Life comes at us. You heal this pain, another pain comes, you get past this anxiety, there'll be a new anxiety that will come. You're kind here, you'll realise, I need to be kinder in this area. It's an ongoing process. So you've got to keep working at it if you want to continue living and growing and appreciating. And certainly if you want to continue to help more people, which I always think it's everyone's birthright to do that. And you don't need to be a teacher or a mentor to do that. You've got to be a human being that wants to make a difference to other people. I really like connecting those two together, because I see such a similarity in the therapy, public speaking and sparring and boxing. The two go hand in hand from my point of view, from my life, my journey. Two things that I was dying to do growing up, but I was petrified of both. I was petrified of speaking, and I was petrified of fighting, martial arts, boxing. But both of those were my goals and dreams. I wanted to do them. I wanted to get the confidence that a person would have who did boxing thousands of times, and I wanted to have the confidence that a person would have who'd done hours and hours of public speaking, mentoring, talks, therapy. I wanted that confidence so bad, more than I wanted to breathe. It meant everything to me, because I knew that if I could gain that confidence, I could transform potentially thousands, if not hopefully millions of people's lives, and I could also live my life and not be constricted by the things that had been said to me growing up, the negative things that happened. I could get past it and turn something traumatic into something beautiful. I knew that deep down when I was a teenager, when I was 17, 16, 18, and I was able to achieve that through putting in a lot of work and practicing both those things, public speaking and boxing and sparring. which is why now I talk about that a lot, and I practice those still, but I don't do the sparring anymore. But I still do boxing training, and I love public speaking, and I teach that in all my programs and on the free platforms, because you get so much confidence and so much humility, everything, faith, humility, gratitude, respect, strength, mental toughness. You get all those things from public speaking and boxing or martial arts or sparring or training. Because it exercises every area, the mental, the spiritual, the physical, all of them, the biology, all of it. You enhance all those things you develop as a person. Pretty simple, it's common sense. Speaking gives you confidence, especially if you're speaking good things over people and yourself. And exercising and communicating gives a person who's got anxiety more confidence, less pain and shame, and you know, just an unlimited amount of potential. I appreciate all of you that are going to watch this later on. I'm fully aware that, and those of you that come on my live streams, thank you very much. But I know that people watch these later on because I upload them as a video. So I'm really grateful for that. And it's been a pleasure to challenge myself to be as consistent as I can. I try and do these dailies. Obviously, I've got clients, I run a business, and I've got my own personal life. But I try and do these, and I'm doing a pretty good job so far, thank God, as consistently as I can. So yeah, I really want all of you to go away, and I really want to try and get you for yourself to change your perception of yourself and of your story, and not be imprisoned by the negative things that happen to you. Take strength in this. No one living and breathing on this earth lives this life and leaves this life without pain, without going through pain. We all do. It's the tragedies of life, but it's also a gift if you use it. I know some of us go through more than others, because I could say, well, I've been through a lot more pain than the average person, and someone else could go, they've been through more pain than I've been, but we all go through pain. It's called life. It's not nice. Sometimes I think it's not fair on everyone, but it happens. But what we do with that pain makes all the difference.
Which means in the middle of the year, the strong first half is going to turn to a strong second half. I'm going to walk around and call my wife.
Oh, okay.
Us tomorrow.
Oh,
Oh, well, just that engine deliveries is supposed to be back half loaded. So the first half is going to be really strong.
yeah. Oh, and margin.
And margin was mixed.
Yeah, I think we can go that way.
And the back half.
You guys take it?
Yeah.
Great to see you. See you later.
Any questions any of you got, put the questions in and I'll try and answer them. So yeah, you know, some beautiful things to process. You can really sit this. I advise for you to do. I did it today. Go to a park when you've got time tomorrow or the days ahead. Sit down on your own, turn your phone off, get present, get calm, and don't just think about, really feel about how you want to change your life and what you need to do. And I've kind of laid out the step-by-step blueprint.
Like slow play your cards, because you've got a great story to tell. You don't want to drive the stock up too much where people are only playing remaining code and are going to blow out of momentum on day one. It's probably going to happen. It will happen. No matter
You
what.
should look at what happens to G and James Burrow.
Yeah.
Although GD now is getting its own way.
But G in 22 was a mess for the healthcare system.
Yeah.
Totally. And then it got like 5x and said, I don't need more. Right. Yeah.
It's a very good business.
It's an unbelievable business. Yeah. Well, look, I love Bob, but he's not Larry Jones.
I'm sure he'll reply.
Oh, he's doing well. So he's fighting. We have internal whatever. Good execution of our court.
Yeah.
Because whenever you do a separation, whatever, like this is the inside baseball stuff that Bill talked about. You unleash all these sorts of internal politics. Who's staying, who's going. That stuff is can really get.
Sorry, if I get a glass of water, please.
You know, and so
Yeah, that'd be motivate.
Thank you.
But it's making Bob like
Yeah.
in mind. So
You guys still feel good about the clothes and
it'll be by the end of September. I mean, unless something weird happens in the IRS.
Yeah, as I said earlier with this stuff, you know, you really want to write it down, because, you You know, it's a lot to think about and feel about, and it's a big commitment to change. So it's not something that you just rush into, like ordering I don't know why I was just ordering a pizza or getting a takeaway. You've really got to think and feel this through. It's a big deal. It's your whole life here, and you're talking about things that are really meaningful to you, and then you're making these big changes, which are going to take time. But the whole process of thinking about it, feeling about it, making the commitment. I think everyone needs to get into a safe space to really commit to doing that. And I know that's been the same for me, and it's been the same for my clients. And it might be an ongoing, it's an ongoing focused time that you need to take for yourself. Because if you don't, you're just going to get lost in distraction.
He was like the only one that like fought Trump at the end, right? So, anyways, such is life. So, cool.
Safe travels back, mate.
Oh yeah, so when you put up mentorship, I was talking to Steve about it. So it's counterintuitive. You want
And I'm just realizing that now, sitting here doing this stream, you need to be focused. All right, mate, how you doing? You all right, man? Good to see you again. Nice one, mate. How you going? You all right? Good, yeah? Busy?
yes. Expect them.
Awesome, man. Good to see you. So you've really got to be focused to do this, because it's human nature. We all do it. And again, there's nothing to be ashamed of. When we go towards facing our fears, it's a knee-jerk reaction. Part of us tries to get out of it and escape it, and that's human nature. That's anxiety. That is part of that protective survival mechanism of our brain, which is why mentors are so important, or a therapist or a teacher or a support group or a good relationship or a good friend, to help you to sit down, process, focus, and take the action on what you need to take in order to change your life. I mean, it's always kind of the same. When we want to change our life, at some point we've got to talk about it. No one changes their life and at some point in time doesn't speak about it. It's impossible. And as a matter of fact, most things are created through the word, through speaking, through making that sound and that commitment, and then taking the action. Like I said earlier, if you don't ask for a coffee, then you probably won't get one. I never get bored sharing this. I never do. I never get bored sharing it, because it's so meaningful, it's so true, and it helps people. And it's not like I know it. It's like, no, I've got to keep confirming it. I've got to go over it again and again. That's how you perfect something. I remember hearing this, and I know it's true. I remember hearing that Muhammad Ali, after every fight that he won, he'd go back to the gym and he'd just work on his jab. People say things, I know we all say things, and sometimes we go, how could someone say something so ridiculous? Or when someone said, why would you do that? Like that, almost like he's like, because he wants to be a champion. That's what a champion does. Just because a champion wins, they don't quit there. They continue to humble themselves, work on the fundamentals. So when people would say to me, why are you still teaching? Or why do you make YouTube videos? Or why are you repeating the same thing? Because it needs to be repeated. Because I'm humble. I want to be a champion. I want to help people to be a champion in life. And if I don't keep doing it, then it's going to deteriorate. What a silly question. But no question is silly. They say no question is a silly one. But you understand what I mean. You've got to keep practicing it. No, I just wanted a glass of tap water. That would be great. And I don't mind if you can. Another coffee would be great.
Absolutely.
Thank you, man.
Was it cappuccino, yeah?
Yes, please. Thank you. But I get it. I understand. We're all human. I've said things before, and people have said, that's stupid. Why did you ask that? But yeah, you got to keep practicing it, unless you generally don't want to do it anymore, and obviously that's fine, but that's not usually the case with anyone. Nobody wants to all of a sudden not enjoying their life or not change it. So what I'm trying to say is, you've got to put a lot of work in to create positive, long-lasting change. But when you do change your life and you're happy, you've still got to work at things to maintain what you've built. And part of that maintenance is the honest confession, helping other people, and getting back to the fundamentals of what it is that got you there in the first place. In my case, it's speaking and teaching in this area. And obviously the other stuff is exercising. You know, it's a bit like someone saying, why do you go to the gym if you've got a six-pack and you're in good shape? It's like, I'm laughing, sorry, you know, you've got, people are beautiful, but it's like, well, if you don't keep going gym, you're not going to have a six-pack for much longer, and you're going to put on weight and get out of shape. No brainer. I don't understand it, why people say that, but I've said things like that before. We're all human, none of us are perfect, but you know, to, you know, recite my point. It would be like me saying, or someone saying to Les Brown, Les, I'm sure Les Brown has always got an answer, he's amazing. Les, why are you still teaching? Why are you doing the talks? You're almost 80 years of age. Les Brown would laugh and say, because I still got something young in me, because he loves what he does, he's passionate. How inspiring is that? I mean, that's beautiful. And I mean, you just have to laugh. What can you do? Otherwise you're going to get upset with people. Because he loves it, he lives and breathes it. He said it himself, he wants to do it until his last breath. People are just like, I mean, the questions are, that's people for you. But that's part of the human conversation that comes up in all of our head. Why am I doing this? I did it yesterday. Well, because it's a new day and you've got to do it again. So inspiring that Les Brown's still going, and that's why he's still so young. You know, he's almost 80. He doesn't look 80 because he doesn't act it, and he's still passionate, still inspiring people. That's what was remarkable about Floyd Mayweather. People ask him, I wondered, how on earth? They would say it to him, Floyd, how do you get motivated to train so hard? You've got millions of pounds. You've got everything you want. You've been a champion for so many years. You've beaten everybody. You're one of the best ever, arguably the best ever. How do you motivate yourself to go to the gym and not drink alcohol? It's a champion's heart. It's a champion's spirit. He's got his own reasons. I've described it today. He wants to keep growing. You don't want to lose that feeling. You want to continue to be at that level. It's pretty obvious, but it is remarkable to have that strength of character. It inspires me. It should inspire all of you. David Goggins said the same thing. He went, it's such a stupid question when people say to me, David, why are you still going out grinding, working hard, you know, sharing your story and you're almost 50? He says, because I don't want to be dead yet. I want to give everything I got before I die. I want to keep growing. I don't want to be complacent. I don't want to become civilized yet. I understand it. I'm the same. It's beautiful. But for those who don't understand it, they don't understand it. That's, what can you do? You know, that's people for you. But those of you that want to keep growing and growing, and you want to change your life and get past your anxieties and live your goals and your dreams and be a better person, it's a life commitment. But it starts off with a daily commitment. We can only do one day at a time. So yeah, it's worth it. Something to be really grateful for, and I still have it. I've got such a deep level of gratitude for any human being, and they don't have to be famous. I have no concern about whether people are famous or not, but any human being that's really had the courage to go through something and share it with people, it's just remarkable. Appreciate that, man. Thank you. I said I was only going to have one coffee, but it tastes too good, so I decided for another. Thank you. That's great, man. Thank you. That's beautiful. Look at this piano. Wow. I like to celebrate people and speak good on people that are doing good things. Andre Ward, don't know if any of you know him. I'm sure you do if you know boxing. One of the greats, you know, retired undefeated. What can I say, man? A man of faith. You know, I respect people of all faiths. I'm a man of faith. It's now he's sharing his story. You know, he's been a champion in boxing, but he said he's inspired me for many years through the boxing. But more importantly, he's sharing his story, his childhood trauma and his pain. He spoke about on the podcast show. If you go and write Andre Ward SOG, Andre Ward was talking about his you know, his mum and dad had a drug problem growing up, and his dad he's really close with his dad. His dad passed away when he was younger, and the pain and the shame that he carried and the things he went through in his childhood, some similar things to me. He went down a difficult path for a while, you know, and then he turned his life around and had a mentor. It's a beautiful story. I admire the courage, and it's helped me personally with my journey. So, you know, people are to be appreciated, especially, you know, when they put their life on the line and make themselves vulnerable to help other people. I mean, you can't ask for any more than that. I'm battling this biscuit. I don't want to eat it. I'm not going to eat it. Just once I start, I won't stop. Yeah, that's one of the major problems that I see with a lot of people, that people, too much pride, you know, with people. They feel like, oh, I can change my life, but I don't need anyone. I mean, you can't. We all need someone. You know, as I said before, no one, even the strongest people that you admire and you look up to, not one of them did it all on their own. I couldn't have done it on my own. I mean, I would have done it if I could, but I couldn't. I tried. I did some of it on my own, and I'm proud of myself for doing that. But I couldn't do all of it on my own. I weren't strong enough. Neither is anyone, and neither are you. And there's no shame in that, which is why we need each other. We need mentors. We need friendships. We need faith. We cannot get through the challenges of life and the tragedies of life and the anxiety and all the wonderful things in life all on our own. No man can do that, and no woman can do that. And it doesn't matter how strong you are. You can't do it. You're not strong enough. You need people. You need support. I've actually got an event on that you're welcome to come. This is a free event I'm doing for a couple of hours on Sunday. It's a meet-up group in St. James's Park. And it's all about this, all about for people that want to change their life, that have got anxiety, that want to build more discipline, that want to take that first step. If you want to come along, I've got a meet-up group. If you join meet-up, I'm going to put some links below. Please forgive me, I'll do that later on. You can join my meet-up group, and then you can attend the talks that I've got coming up. This one is this Sunday in London. It starts at 12 midday, finishes at 2. We're going to have a great time. You're welcome to come. Send me an email, and I'll give you the address and the details. If any of you want to come along and join us, you're welcome. How we doing for time? I wanted to do at least an hour today. Oh, we're almost there, a minute more. So yeah, that was really the session that I wanted to do today, that I'm really proud of myself for completing it. A 3-step process for changing your life when you've got anxiety. Step number 1, you've got to talk about it until you're in a good place, better place. Number 2, you've got to set goals, the goals that you want to achieve, so you can change your life. And then number 3, you've got to get a mentor, or mentors, or a support group. And as I said, you can do those 3 different steps simultaneously. You can go, back and forward to one or the other. But I think the most important one is getting the mentor, getting the help, and getting it out. Getting it out is how you get confident. It's literally one of the ways how you do it. People always ask me, Jonathan, I've got anxiety, how do I build confidence? Talk about it. You have to communicate what's inside you, otherwise you're not going to change the outside. That confession is life-changing, life-saving, gives you so much strength. Most people, especially men, they feel like keeping it in is going to protect them. It's going to make them strong. It doesn't. It doesn't. It just kills you slowly over time. It breaks you down. It weakens you. It makes you scared. It makes it hard to trust yourself and others. It keeps you stuck. Get it out. Get it out. Get it out. When you get it out, you get stronger. You don't get weaker. It's a popular belief in society. It's false. It's a lie. It's damaging. It's not true. It's unconscious. It's uneducated. It's unsolicited, and it doesn't work. And that is the premise that if you keep things in, it makes you strong. Whereas whereas getting it out is a weakness. It's actually the opposite. Keeping it in weakens you. Being vulnerable and getting it out strengthens you. It's the same with a bully. If you're getting bullied by someone and you don't stand up to them, what does it do? We already know that answer. It's pretty obvious. What happens if you stand up to them eventually and say, don't do that to me, you're not going to bully me, or you report it? You stop it. You take the power back. You stop them from bullying you. It's the same with your internal anxiety, with the pain and the shame and the trauma and the blame and all the good ideas that you got. Now, as Les Brown said, his beautiful quote, which I actually heard Denzel Washington quote on a talk. I was so inspired that Denzel Washington, which wouldn't surprise me, he's been inspired by Les Brown. It's a nice thing because he's one of my probably one of my best actors of all time, and it was my nans as well. Denzel Washington, just amazing films. It's just unbelievable. So yeah. Anyway, maybe I'll share that in another video. I think that'll be it now. We'll end it on that note. That was really good, to be continued. I've done a YouTube video that I'm gonna try and upload tonight and get back in time. So yeah, if you want to come to the event on Sunday, let me know. And if any of you are interested in my mentorship, I do a 1-year program for a long-term commitment. If that's too long for you, I do a shorter-term commitment, 6 weeks mentorship, online or in person, depending on what would be best for both, and somewhat in the middle. Or if you want to just start off with a 2-hour session on Zoom, so you can get things out and have that therapy and mentorship and someone to listen to, understands you, can help you, support you, and give you some direction on how you can move forward. We can arrange a mentoring session. My email address is below for business inquiries, mentorship inquiries. If anyone wants to invite me on their podcast show, that inquiry as well. Come to an event or any questions, my email address is there. All right, appreciate all of you coming on. Please like, share, subscribe, and good luck with applying what I've said today, one day at a time.